Hey Nicholas, it's Trent White from Graves Golf. Looking at the videos you sent into the Go program, want to check in on your progress from the last lesson where Clay was working on your foundation and first move and give you a couple new things to work on. So overall, address is starting to look pretty good. Nice job getting the trail foot in the right spot. Overall stance looks really good now and ball position, so that looks great. One thing I want to adjust is in your arms. We've got a lot of arm tension in there where you're actually kind of pulling the elbows in and close to one another. We want the lead arm extended, but that elbow faces the target. So you don't want to put a lot of tension in it. It starts pulling the elbow up and in, and that's what you're going to see here on this side of your screen. Same thing with your trail side. There's a lot of tension in that as well. We want the arms extended, but we don't want to actually pull the elbows together. You'll actually see a decent space in between the two elbows here and in between, kind of just in between his two arms, as opposed to we're pulling these in and getting a lot of tension inside there. So relax that. The lead arm is extended, but don't lift that elbow up and get it to where it's almost kind of hyperextended in there. And then same thing with the trail arm. That trail arm should actually be slightly relaxed, and I'll show you that from a down the line view with Mo here. See, his lead arm is extended. Trail arm has a subtle softness to it. It's not like it's bent a lot. It's extended, but we don't want to be lifting that elbow up. If anything, you see his elbow kind of more or so relaxed down towards his trail hip or pocket. So there's a subtle bend in his trail arm there. Elbow kind of relaxed towards his pocket, not extended up towards his lead arm. All right. So other than that, address is starting to look really good. Nice job with your side bend. So this tilt away from the target, right about 15 to 16 degrees, which is what we want to see. So this is starting to look pretty good. Just got to adjust the arms a little bit. Moving into the backswing, the takeaway is looking better. It's kind of a one-piece movement, as we call it. Hips are turning, torso's turning, everything's moving together. Now we're not hinging. Arms and hands are just kind of along for the ride in that first move. So that's looking better. One thing we want to adjust here is bracing this trail leg a little better. So let me pull up a face-on view on the right. And I've kind of already drawn these lines on here. Watch the line on his trail leg. So the line that runs all the way up his leg. You're going to see very little to no movement in that trail leg. And you can see how his lead hip is still on this line as well where it started. So the reason why we want to have that happen is it's bracing or controlling the rotation in the backswing. So it's controlling how much his lower body, his hips can rotate in the backswing. On your side of the screen, you're going to see that kind of get shifted over, and that's giving your hips a little too much freedom here. See how your hips are shifting and your trail leg is getting off of that line in the takeaway move, and that allows you to kind of over-rotate. I'll show you a couple ways that I can see you're over-rotated. One, it kind of starts down at the lower body with that movement we see, so we don't stay braced enough. And then when we move up to your upper body, you start to see your trail shoulder show up on this side of your head. Look on the right-hand side of the screen. His trail shoulder is still on this side of his head. So he's turned a lot less than you have in that video. Another way to be able to see it is where the hands are relative to the body. His hands are still to the left of his head, and your hands are starting to get hidden behind your head from this view. Those are all signs of over-rotation of the torso, that upper body in the backswing. And so when we flip to down the line, I'll show you what that is causing in the movement of the club. And we'll do it with Mo here on the right, is what we'll see is he's going to rotate into the backswing. So you'll end up seeing, because he's turning his hips and his torso in this first move, he's turning his body, you'll see an inward movement of his club. Everything will move in and underneath this plane line. And then this is what we call position one. But from this point forward, very little rotation is happening. So 2/3 of the backswing rotation actually happens from address to position one. And that little movement, 2/3 of your backswing rotation is done. The rest of this, or the most of the rest of this, is just folding the trail arm and hinging up. So you don't see a lot of body turn. Watch this, kind of look in here at his torso. You're not going to see a lot of rotation happening. You're going to see his arms just going up. He's not turning his body. He's more or so hinging, folding the trail arm and hinging his hands up. And so his hands at the top of his swing, because he's not over-rotated, are really kind of beside his body. If I drew a line straight down from his hands, they're kind of in line with his hip. They're beside his body. What you'll see on your side of the screen here is that as we take this into the backswing, everything's going to get further behind you. So as you go back, we continue to turn the body. And so when we pause you here at the top, it does a couple things. It gets the arms and hands further behind you. See how it's behind your backside here as opposed to lined up with your hip? Another way to be able to see it is you can see his trail shoulder right here. His hands are just left of his trail shoulder. And on your side of the screen, they're going to be well left of that trail shoulder. So it's another kind of way to see that we're turned too much. And that's putting the arms and hands behind the body. The final thing that kind of does to the path of the club is it gets the club across the line. When we get over rotated, the club gets across the line. See how it's over here? The club head is over here behind your head. And you can see where Moe's club head is. It's over here by the plane line. Nowhere near his head over in this position. And that's because he's not over rotated, which is forcing or allowing that club to get what we call across the line and kind of behind your head from this view. All right, so those are going to be some key adjustments to make. We've got to brace that trail leg and actually rotate less in that backswing so everything doesn't get too far behind us. We want rotation from address to position 1, but not a lot of rotation in the second move. So I'm going to send you a couple good videos in the recap email that'll help you with this, kind of with the trail arm fold and position to help get your hands in the right spot, and also just with over rotating in the backswing. So spend some time working on watching and working on those videos there, and we look forward to seeing more from you soon.